In the last episode, I made the case that requirements are your control system. They define the target, anchor every decision, and generate the evidence you need to certify. But I ended on a warning. A control system is only as good as what happens when something changes. And in real engineering company, things change constantly. So this episode is about change control, and specifically how to do it without burning your team in paperwork. Because most people think strict change control means slow. I'm going to show you a proven approach that's strict exactly where it matters and light everywhere else. It's called CMII, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Digital transformation time. Digital transformation time.
As always, two promises. If you're a founder, you'll stop seeing change control as a red tape that slows your team and start seeing it as a thing that lets you move fast without breaking what you've already certified. If you're a tech lead, you'll get a concrete model for handling change that auditors respect and engineers don't hate. I've run change processes in aviation and nuclear, places where a non-controlled change can ground an aircraft, or worse. And also in a startup that couldn't afford a change bureaucracy. The trick is the same in both. Control the change, not the people. There are two ways change goes wrong, and they're opposite. The first is no control. Someone changes a part, a spec, a process, and just does it. No record, no impact check, no one downstream knows. This feels fast and free right up until the change breaks something 3 steps away that nobody connected. This is the world we saw in Module 1, the broken links, the silent drift. It doesn't fail loudly, it fails later, expensively. The second failure is the overcorrection, bureaucracy. Burned by chaos, a company makes every change, however trivial, go through a heavy approval process. Forums, committees, weeks of waiting to move a bracket 2 millimeters. Now change is controlled, but it's so painful that engineers start routing around it. Undocumented tweaks, off the books fixes, and you're quietly back to no control, just slower and with worse morale. Both extremes end in the same place, changes that aren't really controlled. There is a model built specifically to escape both traps. It's called CM2 or CMII or Configuration Management 2. It came out of the aerospace and defense world in the 1980s, developed by what was then an Institute of Configuration Management, because traditional change control couldn't keep up with product complexity. Don't let the name scare you. Strip it down, and CM2 rests on a few ideas that any small team can use. First, keep your requirements clear, concise, and valid, always. CM2 is almost obsessed with this, and rightly. Change control is meaningless if you don't have a clean statement of what correct is. The reference everything changes against has to be trustworthy first. Second, the heart of it, the closed loop change process. A change isn't done when someone makes it. It's done when the loop is closed. The change is requested, its impact is assessed across everything it touches, a decision is made and recorded, it's implemented, and every affected document and baseline is updated to match. Open loops, changes that get made but never fully propagated, are exactly the silent drift that kills you in an audit. CM2 says no open loops. Third, configurations must conform to their requirements in every case, not most of the time. The product, the documents, and the requirements always tell the same story. When they don't, that's not a paperwork gap. That's a loss of control. The source here is the CM2 body of work itself, the Institute of Configuration Management, now known as the Institute for Process Excellence. And there is one line from the CM2 material I want you to carry out of this video, because it's the whole philosophy of this entire course in 6 words. CM is the process. Processes must lead. Tools enable. They wrote that decades ago, and it's exactly what I keep telling you. You don't buy change control as a software. You design it as a process and then a tool enforces it. Get that backwards and you've bought an expensive way to stay out of control. Now the part everyone actually wants. How do you get CM2's rigor without the bureaucracy people associate with it? The secret is that strict and heavy are not the same thing. You can have airtight control that's also fast. Here's how. First, tier your changes by impact. Not every change deserves the same process. That's the mistake that creates bureaucracy. A change that touches a certified, safety-critical, or customer-facing baseline gets the full closed loop. A change with no downstream impact gets a fast track. CM2 actually has this built in, a fast track path. The rigor scales with the risk, not with your anxiety. Second, make impact assessment real, not theater. The slow part of change control is usually figuring out what does this touch. If your requirements, designs, and BOMs are connected, the digital thread from Module 1, that question answers itself in minutes instead of meetings. Connection is what makes strict control fast. Disconnection is what makes it a committee. Third, decide in one place fast. The closed loop needs a decision and the record. Second, make impact assessment real. The slow part of change control is usually figuring out what does this touch. If your requirements, designs, and BOMs are connected, the digital thread from Module 1, that question answers itself in minutes instead of meetings. Connection is what makes strict control fast. Disconnection is what makes it a committee. Third, decide in one place, fast. The closed loop needs a decision and a record. It does not need 5 separate sign-offs across 5 calendars. A small standing change board that can actually decide closes the loop in a conversation. You keep the record, you drop the delay. Fourth, automate the propagation. The most error-prone, moral-killing part of change is updating everything the change touches by hand. When your systems are connected, an approved change propagates. The baseline updates, the affected documents flag themselves. The human makes the decision, the system closes the loop. That's the difference between control that when your systems are connected, an approved change propagates. The baseline updates, the affected documents flag themselves. The human makes the decision, the system closes the loop. That's the difference between control that depends on someone not being tired at 6 p.m. and control that just holds. Founder takeaway. Your instinct when things break is to add process, more approvals, more forms. That instinct is what creates the bureaucracy your team will route around. The real move is the opposite. Invest in connection, not approvals. A connected operation lets you be strict and fast at the same time, because the system does the impact analysis and the propagation. So the question to ask your team isn't, do we have enough sign-offs? It's when we change something, does the system tell us everything it touches automatically? If the answer is no, that's where your money goes, not into more committees. So the requirements are your control system, and CM2's closed loop is how you change them without losing control. But there is one word I've used in almost every sentence and haven't fully unpacked: baseline. The closed loop updates the baseline. Conformance is measured against the baseline. Get baselines wrong, and none of this works. You literally can't reproduce or certify your own product. So the next episode is all about baseline discipline, what a baseline really is, and how a small team keeps engineering intent and approvals reconstructible. It's the quiet foundation under everything in this module. Recap. Change goes wrong two ways: no control or bureaucracy, and both end in uncontrolled change. CM2 escapes both with clear requirements, a closed-loop change process, and conformance in every case. And you make it light, not heavy, by tiering changes, connecting your data so impact analysis is instant, deciding in one place, and automating propagation. Remember the line: processes must lead, tools enable. If this changed how you think about change in your own company, subscribe. Next, I unpack baselines, the foundation under all of it. And in the comments, in your company, when something changes, how long does it take to know everything it affects? Minutes or a meeting? That number tells you how connected you really are.
Digital transformation time.